What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be working on this Razor Ground Force Elite. This is actually a fun little electric go-kart for your kids, and it's fun. It's fairly reliable. It does have one issue with throwing the chain every once in a while, and you can tell that it most likely has thrown the chain on this one because whenever you turn it on, you can hear the electric motor, but it's not going anywhere. So either the chain has come off or one of the gears have spun off, either the motor or maybe the axle. So we're going to be going ahead and diagnosing this so that you can maybe do this yourself. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove this cover here and see what's inside. The first thing that we need is we need a 4mm Allen key to remove this cover. So we're going to go ahead and unscrew these bolts here. There's a couple of nylon nuts on the underside, and it's a nylon locking nut. Kind of push up on the bolt a little bit from the underside to keep the nuts from falling out of the frame. After you've loosened them, go ahead and remove the bolts. And we're going to undo two more on the other side. Oh, I lost one nut. We need to make sure that we recover that. It's just underneath the go-kart. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and remove this. You want to be careful because there's a couple of wires that are actually attached, so don't pull it straight off. I can see the chain is down here at the bottom, and that's actually not a good sign because that probably means it's broken, and it is. So it looks like that we're going to need to replace this chain. We'll put that aside. Also, I see that the chain tensioner here looks like it was damaged when it threw the chain, because these are supposed to be a lot closer together, so the spring has been damaged. So we're going to go ahead and replace a couple of those parts. So I've got a couple of parts here. So the first thing that I've got is I've got a chain tensioner. It's part number W25117380479, and you can see that these little pulleys are much closer together and the spring is tight, and that's going to help keep the chain from coming off. And the other thing that I've got, I don't know what else I've got. That's for something else. And then I've got a brand new chain here, and this chain is part number W25173804012. So that is all we need to get this thing back going again. Before I put these parts on, I'm going to go ahead and look at the gears to make sure there's no bent or broken teeth, because obviously when this chain came off, it did cause some damage. So let's see. Make sure the power is off because you don't want this to accidentally kick on whenever you're doing this. And we're going to lift up the back here, give it a little spin. Okay, the teeth do look good. The disc has a little bit of a bend to it, but that's not going to hurt too much. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove this motor, because we have to actually replace this whole mechanism underneath this motor first. Now this kit does come with some replacement bolts. It also comes with some tools to help you replace this part. Let's go ahead and get this out. And yeah, that is looking so much better. So let's go ahead and get this cover off. We're just going to unplug it there. We're going to unplug these two wires here. The red is in the middle of this, is to the switch. Be careful not to break it. Okay. So now I'm going to tip this up so that I can actually get to the underside of the motor. So they've got these two wrenches in this kit. This is a very short one, and it should fit inside of there pretty well. So we're going to loosen the motor. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and remove these nuts. From the motor. Is that stripped? Now that we have the bolts and the nut removed from the motor, we're going to go ahead and carefully pull the tensioner out from under the motor. Be careful. There are some wires on this. Don't pull the wires. You will damage it. So as you can see, this is slightly damaged because this is very loose, whereas this one is much tighter. The spring is not damaged on this, which is why we're replacing it. So go ahead and put the tensioner in place. Do not pull on those wires. Replace the bolts with the provided bolts with the kit. You should be able to reuse the original bolts if you're just doing maintenance to it. It does require a little bit of patience. I find it helps to lift the motor up some as you're installing the bolt. Okay. Now we need to turn this up on its side so we can gain access to the plate and the lock nuts underneath. Install the plate. This is really required because the nuts chew through the plastic without the plate. You may need to back out on the bolt some under the axle to give the nut room. Snugly tighten the nuts. Next, you're going to get your new chain, and you want to have a set of needle nose pliers available. So there is a master link on here. You need to get a pair of needle nose and carefully keep your finger on the back side of this master link, the rounded part, because I'm going to get the needle nose pliers and carefully try to open the master link. It's a very small chain, so it might take you a few tries. Wow. Did I say a few tries? Almost there. Try not to damage it. And then this pin, this plate comes off. Then you have a second plate that comes off. If you're careful about it, you should be able to just work it off. That opens up the chain. Next, you want to put the chain around the axle. It doesn't matter which direction, from the bottom or the top. I find it easier to go from the top, and I get my needle nose pliers. I pull the chain towards me. You get the master link, and you want to insert it from the motor side. Catch that chain. Okay. And then carefully slide it into the other end of the chain. I say carefully just because it's small and easy to drop. We're going to put the plate, the solid plate, back on first. Make sure it's all the way on. And then you want to install the master link with the round bit going the direction of the chain. So since the chain is rotating this direction, you actually want the rounded part going that direction. So we're going to slide it, or we're going to put it on there. Then we need to slide it or lock it into place, which should be easier than taking it off. Wow. There we go. Make sure it's all the way on, which it is. The next part is going to be fun. So I like to put the chain on the motor first. I start to put the chain underneath the first tensioner there onto the top of the gear. We're going to go ahead and at this point slide the chain onto the top of the lower tensioner, and then at this point you tend to just want to roll the chain into place. Be careful, do not get your fingers. There will be some noise, but there you go. Let's go ahead and give the motor a spin and then see what happens. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and plug this into place. Be careful, do not pull on the wires. We're going to get the red wire and we're going to put it in the middle post. Make sure that you're actually putting it on properly. There we go. It should lock into place. We're going to turn this on, and and we're going to lift up the back. It's good to put something underneath. Now you do need eye protection with this because if the chain were to accidentally come off, you don't want to hurt your eyes. So that looks like it's doing good. Okay, so now that that's looking pretty good, we're going to go ahead and put this cover back on. Make sure to turn it off. We're going to go ahead and put this cover back on and make sure all the wires are tucked in, not in a bind. We're going to line up the holes. And then we're going to install the bolts, which I'll put in a bag. Now we lost a nut in one of these, and I do believe it was the backside on the non-drive side for a regular vehicle. So I'm going to slide this bolt in. Do not force it through. Start to screw it in because the nut should still be recessed in the plastic body. And that one tightened up nicely. We're going to partially install this one and not push it all the way through. We're going to start threading this in, and it should find that nut that's recessed in the body. And don't over tighten it, just make it a little snug. And then the front, I think the front one's the one that's missing the nut. Okay, the back one partially through, don't push down on it, start to thread it, and sure enough it starts to tighten right up. Now since the nut fell out, you want to try to find a small hole in the underside of the body, and let's see. Okay, there it is. I feel the bolt sticking partially through. Nut went right in, and we're going to tighten this. And that's it. Let's take it for a test ride. Well, that's it for this video. If y'all found it helpful, please leave me a big thumbs up. If y'all found it amusing, leave me that big thumbs up. Don't forget to tell your friends. Don't forget to check out some of the other videos on the corner of the screen. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.